So I was hesitant to become a Christian because I didn't want to be associated with homophobic people and pro-lifers, but Jesus kept calling me to be his follower, so then I did. So I go to this church event the other day, and then I say to the people there, like, oh, I've been going to this Episcopal church, and the one guy's like, oh, you got to be careful with those kind of churches because some of them have steered far away from the biblical teachings and they accept lesbian preachers. And I was like, oh, well, I don't really care about that. Like, I accept gay people, whatever, right? And so then later in the day, we get into this debate about, like, is it a sin to be gay or not? And then this one other guy joins in and they're kind of like ganging up on me, sort of. But I guess he still liked me because then he's like, oh, put my number in your phone. So then I'm putting his number in and I write his name and then I put in parentheses, homophobic man, because he's watching me what I'm doing. And I did it like kind of as a joke, but also not. And he's like, that's not funny. I'm not homophobic. So then he DMs me this on Instagram when someone's like, you need to be more inclusive and share LGBTQ stories to your children. And then they say, okay. And then they say the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. And he's like, this is you. And then I said, you're wrong. And he's like, you're wrong. It's best we unfollow. So then he unfollowed me and removed me as a follower. And so now I just want to say that the Sodom and Gomorrah story isn't about how it's a sin to be gay and you shouldn't be gay. Sodom's sins were pride, gluttony, and laziness. While the poor and needy suffered outside her door, she was proud and committed detestable sins, so I wiped her out as you have seen. And so in Genesis 19, these angels came and they were staying in Lot's house. But before they had gone to bed, all the men from every part of the city of Sodom, both young and old, surrounded the house. They called to Lot, where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so that we can have sex with them. Lot went outside with them, shut the door behind him, and said, no, my friends, don't do this wicked thing. And then he says, look, I have 2 daughters who have never slept with a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do whatever you like with them. But don't do anything to these men, for they have come under the protection of my roof. And so I think that people get confused because Lot's basically saying, like, oh, it's wicked for you to have sex with, like, the 2 men, but here, like, take my daughters. And I think that the reason that Lot offered up his daughters, even though that's obviously weird, and, like, when I was reading that, I was like, what the heck is going on? But it says that they have come under the protection of my roof. And so back in the day, hospitality was really important, and he wanted to protect his guests. And so he basically just didn't know what to do, so then he thought that he should offer up his daughters, even though in God's eyes that probably was also wrong, and he was probably like, what are you doing, right? But then they say, get out of our way, they replied. This fellow came here as a foreigner, and now he wants to play the judge. We'll treat you worse than them. And they kept bringing pressure on Lot and moved forward to break down the door. But then the angels ended up stopping that. And what I was trying to explain to that guy was that there's